Good morning. Again, it is Off the Press, the program where we take a look at the national dailies and try to make sense of it, dissect it as much as we can. And with me to do so this morning is public affairs analyst Femi Osasona. Good morning, Femi.
Good morning, Amaka.
Good to see you. It's been ages. Okay, so we go straight to the point. We have a couple of papers this morning. We have The Guardian. If you please pass The Guardian to me. We have The Guardian newspaper. We have The Punch, The Nation, and Vanguard. But we shall begin with The Guardian newspaper. Okay. And the front page, it says, government under fire for withholding unemployment data from public. That's the big story there, as already displayed. And then Joshua reveals mystery medical issue, forced surgery before Ruiz Jr. bout. That's on the back page. Measles killed 52,600, infected 1.8 million Africans in 2018. Now, PFN faults new law prescribing levy for Christian marriage certificates. That story is on page 44 of the Guardian newspaper. A 19-year-old Yahoo boy sets girlfriend ablaze in Lagos over infidelity. Such a story. You'll find that story somewhere on page 12. And Nigeria slipping into lawlessness. IYC, Afenifere, others won. Presidency absolves DSS. Declares agency acting under its powers. No court invasion in 30 years of military dictatorship, Falana says. That story is on the front page there, but it's continued on page 6. And that's about it here for the Guardian newspaper. So, Femi, which one is catching your interest, as they say?
Where do you want us to start? Do you want us to start from the entertainment aspect, or do you want us to face the reality?
No, please, let's go to the very serious news without any offense to entertainment.
Yeah, so, which is the serious case. I mean, it's of no doubt that there's been a very serious rise in unemployment, and you see, it's a. I think the absolute reason why the federal government is hiding this information is very clear.
Which is?
Yes, there's been a very serious rise in the increase in unemployment in the country. I mean, a lot of people that are employed in the last 3 years, 4 years, definitely currently unemployed. And you see, so the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics coming out now to decide not to release the information is because, of course, you don't want to send the whole country into panic.
But whether or not they do, we know the realities with us.
Yes, we know the reality, but at the same time, there is a terrible perception of the government by the public already. And I'm sure the government doesn't want to add to that. And, well, the serious issue of unemployment, I think, is linked with the fact that for the past 5 years we've been battling, I mean, since the incoming tenure of President Buhari, we've been battling a whole lot of issues, which is not just policy-driven issues, but quite a number of issues. We have inflation issues in the country. We have serious economic issues.
Almost.
Yes, we have very terrible security issues as well. So I think that a lot of people have been displaced from their jobs because of these different issues we've been facing as a country. So hiding it from the public domain, I think it's. Well, it doesn't change the fact that people are losing their jobs.
It doesn't
change the fact that companies are actually shutting down. It doesn't change the fact that there is hardship in the country. But at the same time, there is a way to manage. There is a way to manage social media. I mean, to manage the media perception. So, which is what I think the government is trying to do by deciding to. Leave that particular aspect of the statistics out of the public domain. Maybe temporarily, maybe after a while, maybe I'm sure Mr. Yemi Kale and the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics Department, I'm sure they're doing a very good job, and I'm sure in a while the information is going to be made public, and we'll be able to know where we stand and where we're going. But of course, everybody knows the country is not in a good structure,
shape,
in a good
so
shape,
to speak.
yes, so to speak, at the moment. So, well, so we hope for better times ahead.
Okay,
Maybe we'll start moving to the next level anytime soon.
Well, I will leave that to your imagination. Okay, so let's go to, Nigeria slipping into lawlessness, Fenifere and others won. That's in relation to the Sowere's rearrest.
To be honest with you, I quite agree with Fenifere and the YC and all.
YC.
NYC. Okay, so the thing is, to be honest with you, I'm quite worried myself. The lawlessness issues in the country has gone to a different level entirely. I mean, people have practically taken law into their own hands. And to be honest with you, I think the major problem, the major reason why this is happening is because there is a very terrible perception of our security agencies presently. The security agencies are not in a good image to the public at the moment. I mean, look at the whole situation. Look at the whole situation in the country with the SARS. Look at the way they manhandle a lot of people on the street. Look at the situation of police. I mean, so I was reading some views, some political views for some people online, and a lot of people were giving their information on the amount of roadblocks you go through when you're going to different parts of the country.
That's true,
and
by the way.
somebody was mentioning about 60-something roadblocks just from going to from Biniore Road to Enugu.
My goodness.
And I'm like,
that's a lot. To
be honest with you, and if we want to look at these things, so let's really discuss about it. What could be the issue? What could be the issue? To be honest with you, I mean, going through these roadblocks, you will agree with me that most of these roadblocks, if you go through 60 of them, 50 of these roadblocks will actually demand for some tips from you. So there is a very terrible perception. Of course, people are going to go into lawlessness if they know that you can always buy yourself through different situations. There's practically no situation you may not be able to buy yourself through within the security agencies. Look at the case of Omoyele Sowere as well. The state security services taking the law into their hands, and after granting bail to Sowere, defying court order to go and arrest the Sowere again. So there is a terrible perception of the security agencies in the country already. So this definitely is going to lead to lawlessness. There is no doubt about it. There is nothing we can do about it. It's going to lead to lawlessness.
There's something we can do about it in terms of saying, no, we want to follow due process and do the right thing. I mean, I dare to say.
So can the security agencies, can they follow the same due process and do the right thing?
That's what we're asking. That's what we're challenging, I suppose.
Yes, that's what. So the whole issue of what's it called? The NSAS that a lot of people have been trying to raise on the social media. This is the part of is part of this due process that we're trying to encourage the security agencies to always follow. I mean, to understand that there is what is called human right there. To understand that they have to follow due process. You can't just accost somebody on the road and start going through their mobile devices for no just reason and all those things. You have to follow a due process. There must be a warrant. There must be a lot of things. But are they going to follow these due processes?
We hope to see. And we hope and pray that that happens. Anyway, we'll move on to the next story. I'm not going to ask you about Anthony Joshua, how you're feeling. I know everybody is excited. We'll come to that. Okay. Again, it is here on the Vanguard. So we'll move to Vanguard now. And the big story again is Sowere's rearrest. Respect rule of laws. U.S. tells the federal government, as already displayed there on your screen. The story is on page 5. Presidency backs DSS. Says no government will condone open call for destabilization. And lawyers, DSS operative apologized to Justice Ojukwu for invading court, according to Falana. And then lawyers in Kaduna lambast DSS for invading court. That's the big story for the Vanguard newspaper. And at the top there, Buhari and Dare salute Joshua. That's on page 45. Analysts project higher GDP growth to 2.4% in the fourth quarter of 2019. Now, why Senate will not declare Kalu's seat vacant, according to spokesman on page 9. And second Niger Bridge, pace of work, major achievement for Southeast Zone. That's according to Umahi there on page 15. And then abductors of Catholic priests in Ondo demand 100 million ransom. That story is on page 7, yet another story of insecurity. Nigerians must resist acts of oppression, Nadeko says, and it's on page 10. PDP kicks as APC clears 16 local government seats in Ekiti on page 11. And IPPIS, federal government won't obey orders if taken to court, according to ASU. That story is on page 11. And then we will establish adult literacy scheme for 50 million illiterate Nigerians in 2020. That story is on page 8. Let's start there. How do you feel about this news? We have 50 million illiterates in Nigeria. We're a country of about 200 million and counting. So we have just a quarter of us.
To be honest with you, to say it as it is, we have a terrible problem in the country. Illiteracy problem, to be honest with you. And
we have 150 million. Well, that may not be the accurate
I mean, that's one quarter of the country already that is an illiterate. So, and to be honest with you, it's a very pathetic situation, you know.
So are you happy with this new development?
There is no way I'm going to be happy with that. And I think that...
why not? It's a way to curb the situation almost, isn't it? Because if they're going to begin the scheme in 2020 to get all of this...
Oh, okay, you're talking about the adult literacy. Well,
yes, yes.
Of course, adult literacy has always been around. Definitely. A lot of... I know of churches that...
Is it quite popular?
It's not. I know a lot of churches that organize adult literacy. As a matter of fact, the previous Lagos State government, the government under Ambody actually had something like that under the Office of the Special Advisor on Education, which is Bankolemo, which is, I think, a Konkeko or something. There was a program. It's it's an adult literacy program for Lagos, adults in Lagos that are not privy to education and all that. But, well, I don't think the scheme was well accepted. So, it's a good initiative, but the acceptability is the problem, is the challenge.
Why do you think so?
So, of course, you can't go... There has to be a will.
Yeah.
A lot of people have given up on education. Let's not lie about it.
There has to be a will.
There has to be a will from the people. You can't go and drive them from their house and say, look, you need to start coming to class. And to be honest with you, the whole idea of education, going to class, is not in a good frame at the moment. Because even the one that went to school, they're not really doing much. So if you go to meet an adult person, if you go to meet an illiterate adult on the street, they will tell you,
you that went to school.
You that went to school, what are you doing with your certificate? So that's the challenge.
Sorry, it's pathetic.
So that's the challenge. So, but I think it would be a very good initiative if we start from the young people. Like, if you drive through the long stretch of Freedom Way, I can count nothing less than 200 to 300 children begging for alms, begging for tips and different things. I think we can start from all these young ones and try to bring them into shape, because eventually these little ones, these young people, at the point, after a few years, they will be the one to grow into these illiterate adults. By the time they are adults already, it's going to be difficult to convince them to come to class. Right now, the idea of going to class and coming to class is fresh when they're young. It's something they will accept. But when you get to 30 years old, 35 years old, 40 years old, and somebody is telling you to come to class, to come and do what? If you go to...
if you don't see the need for it.
If you don't see the need for it. Okay, let's say, for instance, you want to tell me you're going to go to Dumotanam and you're going to ask market women that are making a lot of millions without going to school, and you tell them that adult literacy is very important, they have to come to class, they have to come to start learning economics, to start learning one or two things. They will ask you, how does this solve the problem on ground? How does it bring money? How does it bring food to the table? That's the question they're going to ask you. So if we start from early, if we start from the young ones and put them in the right shape, by the time they grow, we'll be able to eradicate adult illiteracy from them.
So we may not even have the need to invent,
you see, so it's just, The whole adult literacy problem, I mean, the whole adult literacy initiative, I think we should focus more on the young ones rather than focusing on how to educate adults. Because, to be honest with you, let's be frank, 50% of them will not turn up for the class.
And I think the question is, do they want, is this what they need? Is this the need for the nation at this time? Are there people, 50 million of these people ready and saying, oh, I want to go back to school? Otherwise, it will end up as a white elephant. So I completely agree with you. So, okay, let's go to other stories here. Show-arrest, re-arrest, respect rule of law, U.S. tells federal government.
So, see, this is the part of the lawlessness we are talking about. Because when you have security agencies not even respecting the rule of law, what do you expect from the citizens?
No, we don't expect that they are leading the way in this situation.
No, if the security agencies are not showing a good example,
so you're saying they should lead by example?
Definitely. If security agencies cannot respect the rule of law, if the federal government cannot respect the rule of law, how do you expect a thug on the street to respect the rule of law, to respect whatever you have in the law? There is no way anybody is going to lead to chaos. It's going to lead to lawlessness. So there was a court order to release Sowere a day before this particular court injunction, and he was released. And while in the court, suddenly DSS, or what do they call them? Is it SSS or DSS now?
Department of State Services.
Yeah. Is it the Department of? Because
DSS.
I saw a press report of a lady.
The official, I mean, the one they go by.
The lady was refuting the claim that there is nothing called DSS, that is only SSS.
Okay, let's go to the subject.
So yeah, so maybe so I'm trying to clarify that. Anyways,
it's the Department of State Services.
Department of State Services. Okay, so suddenly they stormed into the court premises to whisk Sowere away. After, I mean, that is defying the court order already. Even if there is any other, though they were claiming that they asked Sowere not to speak to the media within the next 24 hours, and he did that. So that's why they are making the rearrest. At the same time, there's another press report refuting the claim that the people that carried out the drama in the court was actually imposters, that they were not.
Was stage managed.
Yeah, it was stage managed. But of course, DSS came outside again with the press report to apologize for storming the court. So what do we believe? Because on one hand, you are claiming that you claim that there is a media propaganda that people are just staging drama to give a bad image to the government. And on the other hand, you came to apologize. But irrespective of that, we have to, if we don't want this country to go into chaos and lawlessness, which is exactly what is going right now. Because I don't think there's ever been a particular point in time that I know that we have such level of security deficiency in this country. We are literally at our own mercy presently. If we don't watch all these things, if we don't make sure that security agencies are acting according to what is available in the rule of law, we are going to have people going into lawlessness, definitely. We're going to have people, and that is why Afenifere is warning. That is why Sage also warns the federal government that you have to, if you don't put this thing into a right frame, it's going to cause a lot of problems for the country.
We're headed in the wrong direction, so to speak.
I hope God will help us.
Okay, we will help ourselves. God has always been there, but we will do the right thing, and He will now support us. So we'll go to the Punch newspaper now. It says foreign capital inflows into telecoms rise by $659.0 million. Okay, $659.0 million. And that's on page 31. Fowler's tenure ends and faith hangs in the balance. That's on page 34, as displayed there on your screen. And NCC creates emergency communication centers in 18 states. Do they work, is the question. That story again is on page 34. And IPPIS, federal government to decide VC's extension request today. And that's on page 10. Sowere, US raises concern once against anti-democratic actions, just what we're talking about. And DSS apologized to judge, says Falana, page 2. So what are we supposed to believe? Find out for yourself. That story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. 9 ex-governors whose corruption cases are forgotten. Something quite revealing there on page 7 of the Punch newspaper, and that's by Panorama. Find out what that's about. And robbers kill 4 in Lokoja Abuja highway attack. Again, the spate of killings and insecurity is quite frightening. Pupils attack Delta teacher after allegedly taking drugs. That's on page 5. Now, APC wins 16 Ekiti local government chairmanship seats and PDP kicks. That's on page 26. I signed sex tape girls' expulsion letters in tears. That's the Babcock vice chancellor. That story is on page 8. Find out why he's crying.
Why is he crying?
And why did he do that? Anyways,
why is he crying?
Now, internet fraudster burns girlfriend to death over infidelity. This is very... Well, find about the story on pages 4 and 5, and then on the back page there of the Punch newspaper, to borrow or not to borrow. It's a column there. Please find out what it is by Obadiah Meilafia on the back of the Punch newspaper. So which one? Let's quickly just take a look at 2 stories. We've already talked about the Sowere's case. Of course, US has raised concerns. He is a US citizen, as we know.
Yeah,
and we hope that something needs to be done and done rightly, just as you were saying, in terms of respecting the rule of law, which is one of the tenets of a democratic government, and we claim to be one. So let's go to which other stories getting your attention? NCC creates emergency, or whichever story? Anyways.
Well, so, just like you said, do they work? Creating an emergency communication, I think this is like the 3rd tenure of any ministers. I think communication department. Creating this particular initiative. It's a good initiative, creating emergency this thing, but it brings about the question: if you have an emergency in your house and you call the emergency number
and it's not working,
are they going to respond to you? Is it not going to be the case of what we have in a lot of telecommunication companies presently, where you have to stay on the line for about 25 minutes or 30 minutes before you can even get attended to. So that's the challenge.
What's the point if it's an emergency?
If it is an emergency, sometimes emergency, you could be within 30 seconds of life and death. And every seconds matter. But when you decide to call an emergency number and you're hearing, please wait, your calls are going to be attended to in the next 5 minutes.
Let's not even talk about the frustration.
So it's a...
Hopefully we get it right this time. I'm not taking words from you, but we're going to take the last paper and just one story. So already, why Senate is in a hurry by Lawan? Hemp has done me good, says Charlie Boy. Find out, I've smoked for 55 years. Well, find out what that's about on page 5. How I reclaimed my belt by Anthony Joshua. Sowere Sage, others kick as presidency defends DSS. Belema Pipeline set to build DHU tank farm in Rivers on page 12. Yahoo Boy, okay, that story you already know. So let me just ask you very quickly, how do you feel about Anthony Joshua's victory? And that's where we'll wrap.
There's nothing like a taste of victory, to be honest with you, and especially when it comes through pain.
And even in his situation, he had to redeem himself.
I mean, that's when it's coming through pain, because I don't want to put myself in his shoes for considering what he has gone through within the past, because nobody actually expected Ortiz.
That's him celebrating there. Look at that picture.
Nobody actually expected the last fight when he was defeated. Nobody expected Ruiz to actually defeat.
Look at that.
I mean, it's
amazing.
A taste of victory is always very, very sweet, especially when it comes through pain, because the man has definitely gone through a lot within the last 6 months. A lot of people have said, "Oh, no, it's just a one time like Samuel Peters and all this." A lot of people have compared him to different fallen boxing legends and all the likes. But man, he was silent. He wasn't bragging. He wasn't doing much on social media.
He came back and shut everybody up.
Thank you.
So we are happy and we are proud of him.
I mean, it's a glorious victory. Where I watched the
We're going
boxing.
to wrap. Yeah.
Where I watched the boxing, you could see the joy on every Nigerian. There was so much people, everybody was joyful, everybody was jubilating.
We are glad
it
that
was a
he
win-win
made
situation for
a
the
very good
even though
comeback.
it might not be Nigerian, but it's a
well,
win-win
we are
situation
happy. That's the good news.
We're all happy.
All right, thank
claim
you.
That.
Thank you very much, Femi,
It's a
for
pleasure,
coming
Amaka.
up.
It's a
This is
pleasure.
where we are going to wrap it. We are also proud of Anthony Joshua that he made a very good comeback and redeemed himself also. And it will be a wrap. We'll do this again tomorrow, same program, 8:30 here on Plus TV Africa. And I am Amaka Okoye. Have yourselves a good day.